All right, so I'm going to talk about the MCAT and you know what to be doing in your undergraduate in the years leading up to your MCAT. And I'm not here advocating for people to start studying during their freshman year or something when you're going to be taking it probably after your junior or senior year. Um, I'm I am I think that there's always ways that you can be preparing. It doesn't take a lot of time, but there are ways to stay on top of things because that's one of the things that I really regret about my undergrad is that I took my freshman courses and just maybe crammed for them, uh, blew them off after that. Figured I'll learn it again when the time comes, and then you get to studying for the MCAT and you go, wow, that's a lot of material that I completely do not remember. So to start with, when you're going through school, just you probably like to do it anyway. Just browse YouTube. Watch videos. There's people that know the MCAT way better than I do, and they make some excellent videos on that. So just YouTube that, and they'll tell you some awesome study plans and how they prepared. But right now, I'll give you a couple. I'll give you a couple tips that I don't think many other YouTubers will talk about. So first of all, I would say to you know kind of review material occasionally. Like, uh, you take your freshman year bio and Gen Chem, and you just kind of never touch it again until you start studying for the MCAT. If you have a summer off, maybe you're working in the summer or something like that, doing research. You can put an hour in a week just looking over a short review book of biology. Um, just something to kind of refresh your memory a little bit. Uh, it'll help. It'll help a lot in the long run. You're not going to remember everything, but when you start that studying, it won't have been 3 years since you've seen this material. Maybe you've looked it over twice in those 3 years in between. That'll help you a lot in terms of just jogging your memory. And if you have maybe a 3 month window where you're like, okay, this is what I'm going to study for the MCAT, um, then you just won't have to spend so much time working on learning all the info again. You can spend a lot more time focusing on actually doing questions, doing passages. So I think that's really important. And then, as early as possible when you're watching these videos, try to create a timeline. Uh, Figure out when you're going to take the exam. You don't need to know this, in your freshman year or anything like that. But sophomore year, start really thinking about when you want to take the exam, when you think you'll be ready to take the exam, um, and so create a timeline when you can. And then the most important thing, anybody who asks me about how to do well in the MCAT, uh, I think the most important thing that there is to have a high reading level. It's an exam. It's not just memorization. I mean, it would appear that way when you're studying for the exam, but it's not about memorization. It's about one, being able to quickly analyze passages, but being able to quickly analyze passages mostly stems from being an excellent reader. So the more quickly you can read a passage and absorb the info, the better off you'll be on the exam. I promise you that. So, you know, you probably are gonna hate to hear this, but or some of you, I don't know. If you're not a big reader, but pick up a book and read a challenging book. Always have a book that you're reading. You'll have a lot of work with your exams and your other activities, but when you can, just sit down and read a book for a little bit. Half hour a week. That's not that tough to do. But if you're reading challenging material, read articles online like a real publication, and just to kind of keep your reading at that more advanced level, because if you're just going off the PowerPoint off class, and you're just kind of doing the bare minimum, getting by on that, your reading level can dip pretty quickly, actually. So the more you read challenging material, I promise you, the better off you'll be on the exam. That is my biggest piece of advice to anybody who is going to take the MCAT in the future. So you're going to hear me harp on this again. So be ready for that in my next MCAT videos. But I'll see you next time. All right.